Good morning, friends. Today I am going to talk about one of the most important playwrights of the world. In the paper New Literatures, we have a writer, Wole Soyinka, and Wole Soyinka, though he has been writing fictions, non-fictions, poetry, but primarily his popularity lies in his creations of drama, plays, which are of utmost importance, not only thematically, but technically as well. Before I begin to talk about the play, the prescribed one, that is The Road, it becomes somewhat necessary to talk about how Wole Soyinka should be perceived. What are the ways to look at him? What are the essential things which are necessary in order to begin with Soyinka? So, there are certain points which I would like to talk in the very beginning. The first is Soyinka has been a Christian, and as a Christian, he knows Bible very well. He knows the Psalms. He knows Christ, Antichrist, and the mysteries, the philosophical pursuits which are embedded in Bible that are very much known to him. Second thing is, Soyinka, apart from being a Christian, he has his identity rooted in his local indigenous belief system. And the belief system of which he is the part is Yoruba cosmology. It means he has been into the basic determiners of being in Yoruba cosmology, Yoruba world system, Yoruba beliefs make Soyinka a very important figure. Third is, Soyinka has expertise in Western theatrical modes, be it ancient Greco-Roman or Shakespeare, or even the modern theatrical traditions. He knows those very well. Next important thing to begin with Soyinka is his historicity. One can't understand Soyinka without putting him into the discourses of coloniality and post-coloniality. The most important thing, the terminology in new literatures emerges out of this coloniality and post-coloniality. We must know that Nigeria has been a colony to England. It means Nigeria was a colony. So, he has been a strong voice against colonialism. And after Britishers left Nigeria, he is very much vocal to the post-colonial state of Nigeria, which we shall be discussing while we go to the play, The Road. Another important angle of Soyinka is that he has his own acumen, he has his own power, he has his own magical touch, which makes him one of the greatest playwrights of the world. Soyinka should be understood, Soyinka should be studied from these angles. And now I'm going to talk about some more aspects of Soyinka, specifically his relationship with his Yoruba cosmology, Yoruba belief system. So Yoruba belief system contains many gods, deities, divine figures. Olodumare happens to be the supreme deity, supreme god. But the most important and loved one to Soyinka is Ogun. Ogun is the god of creativity as well as the god of war, god of road, god of steel, god of iron, god of destruction. So Ogun becomes a very queer mixture of opposites. He's not having one quality, but he is having so many qualities which are opposite in nature. Ogun has been very important figure because he is one who creates and he is one who destroys. So this creation and destruction both are there in the character of Ogun, and this appeals Soyinka most. Ogun has been carved, imaged as a coiled snake in which he seems to eat his own tail, and eating his own tail is a symbol of eating his own people, killing his own people, murdering his own people, destructing his own people, his own devotees, his own fellow beings. It has been Ogun has been a very important figure, and we shall try to understand his importance in the analysis of the play, The Road. Apart from Ogun, Yoruba cosmology has so many rituals and so many practices. And the ritual and the practice which is best suited to the analysis of the play The Road, one must take a look at the ritual of E-Gungun, E-G-U-N-G-U-N, E-Gungun. E-Gungun is a ritual process whereby there is a society, Ifa or Ife, which is a sect society, chosen one. It contains the most strictest observers of Yoruba cosmology, Yoruba belief system. They have the duty to make mask, carving out of the mask with full veneration and respect. And it is the responsibility of the society to choose a person from the Yoruba system who will be putting on the mask of the god in that way. The putting on the mask and the Igungun ritual is a kind of celebration of the favorite deity. Let us say, if one puts on the mask of Ogun and masquerading, performing something on the road, it means he is on his way to appease, to satisfy, to get a favorable response from the god Ogun. So this ritual of Igungun should be understood in the light of certain other theories. A quick affiliation, quick understanding of Igungun with other concepts must be made. So let us talk about Greek theatre, Greek literature. So Greek literature theatre has been taken as a imitation, mimesis, whereby if one has to play, one has to enact GS, one has to imitate GS only, not more than that. Only imitation, not the representation. The representation form came into Bertolt Brecht, whereby one doesn't imitate a character, one simply represents that in all the possible entirety in that way. So this has been the case of Igungun as well, whereby if one puts on the mask, after certain stages, certain steps, the masked man no longer becomes the man who was there before the putting on the mask, but he becomes the mask itself, masked himself. Right? So this very concept is very much similar to Indian Sanskrit classical theatrical traditions, whereby putting on the mask is to be the mask itself, the mask himself, the mask herself, if we can define the gender of mask at the same time. So Igungun is a very important ritual, and this Igungun ritual has several phases, but the most important phase which appeals to Soyinka is the phase of Azemo, Agemo. Agemo is that phase where which translates as fresh dissolution, and Agemo is that phase where the masked man is about to enter, is about to get an entry, is about to transform into the personality, into the God. In that, suppose, what do I mean to say? I mean to say that if somebody has put on the mask of Ram, so in the Egungun ritual process and that phase of Azemo, it would connote that the one who is performing Ram in Azemo phase, he shall become Ram himself. So this is one of the most important, one of the most important aspects which you must keep in mind to make an understanding of Soyinka and display the road. Soyinka's Oriba cosmology believes in three worlds: the unborn, the living, and the dead world in that way. And the most important thing, these three worlds, that is unborn, living, and the dead, they are not hierarchical. They are not having strict boundaries or barriers. Anybody can make an entry into any of these worlds without much restrictions in that way. I shall not talk of this much, but I have to talk about the fourth stage, which has been one of the most important writings of most important concepts of Soyinka, where he conceives fourth stage to be the real reason for the tragedy to happen. And in this connection, I would like to take you to one of the famous writings of Friedrich Nietzsche, The Birth of Tragedy. In The Birth of Tragedy, Friedrich Nietzsche talks about Greek tragedy, where he says that Greek tragedy emerges out of war between two opposing forces, Apollo and Dionysus. Apollo being the symbolical representations such as representations of qualities such as calmness, contemplative state of being, sophisticated, order, and Dionysus being destructive, being chaotic, being disorder in that way. When these two opposite forces come together, there is tragedy. But in these descriptions, we have one thing clear: binary opposition, where Apollo stands for certain features, Dionysus stands for certain features. They don't contain vice versa. I mean, Apollo shouldn't contain the features of Dionysus, and Dionysus shouldn't have the features of Apollo. This is what we understand about Greek tragedy. When it comes to Soyinka just blurs this. He just distorts this. And his fourth stage is just the distortion of this binary opposition. And this fourth stage is very much similar to the collective conscious, personal conscious, unconscious, collective unconscious of Jung, and that is unconscious mind, where there things are chaotic, and within one's own psyche, one can have the elements of destructive forces. The tragedy, the destruction doesn't lie outside. The tragedy, the seed of tragedy and destruction, they lie inside one's own psyche, right? So there is tragedy doesn't lie outside. Tragedy lies inside. When the inside is fragmented, distorted, when it is blurred. This is the case of Ogun. Ogun is the mixture of opposites, right? This is the fourth stage, which he calls the chthonic stage, which has not been given that much of importance. But so look at the way how Soyinka brings in psychology, brings in the role of unconscious as far as tragedy is concerned. So these are some of the important notions of Soyinka, which I think one must keep in mind before trying to make an entry into the dramatic world of Soyinka. Thank you.
क्या करने लगे अब?